If you didn't want to watch porn, why would you be trying so hard to stop doing it? This is the basic dilemma, right? You can, you want to do it and you want to stop. Anybody glamorizing porn addiction, watch that clip.
So for many years, I was in a porn addiction, and I'd been taught online that if you get into self-improvement and you start going to the gym and meditating and journaling, you'll be able to overcome this porn addiction, right? So I want to just start off by playing a clip, and then I want to kind of share why what I said in the past was totally wrong, and I can kind of show with a really great example of why what I was talking about was incorrect in the past, and hopefully we can learn a little bit from my mistakes that I made once upon a time. So yeah, let's get into this clip and then we can have a bit of a conversation, Mary.
If we really think about it, quitting porn isn't going to make our life better, but taking action and focusing on what we do want and going out and achieving our goals and making friends and making memories and doing the things that we want to do, that's what life's all about. It's not about quitting porn.
That's funny. You look so young. You're just so different in those videos. But it's not about, but the thing is if you're not quitting porn, you're not going to do all those things. You're going to be at home, stuck in your addiction, in regret and shame and no confidence, all of the things, so what was your point there, that if you focus on going and doing those other things, then what you just said, you don't need to quit porn, though, right? So
Well,
you tell me what's wrong with that?
I used to have this little quote that I'd say. It'd be like, and to be honest with you, I mean, I was just regurgitating the same shit that everyone else says online, to be straight. And obviously I'd taken the information from various books, different YouTubers, different courses that I'd done, and I kind of put it all together, and then I kind of created my own sort of ways of thinking. But all of it is just so different to what I know now. It's just crazy how different it is. But I used to have this idea that if you focus on what you do want more than focusing on what you don't want, then you're going to be able to do really well in life. And it's interesting because focus on what you don't want. Like, I had this idea in my head that I didn't want to watch porn. Okay, so I don't want to watch porn, so I'm going to focus more on what I do want. So I'm going to try and build this amazing life for myself. But the problem with that is once your neural pathways are wired where you are going to, have these desires, it's kind of impossible to just stop focusing on that because they refuse to be ignored. They're going to keep coming up due to the neural pathways being wired in that way. So it's such a stupid saying that I used to have.
Yeah, I don't want to watch porn. I don't want to watch porn. Well, that if you didn't want to watch porn, you wouldn't be watching porn. It's like, and why would you, if you didn't want to watch porn, why would you be trying so hard to stop doing it? You would, it makes absolutely no sense. But the thing is, I remember when I was 20, I went to a hypnotist to try to stop smoking. And he kept on, he supposedly put me under, or whatever. And I was laying there going, dude, I'm not really under or anything. I'm right here. But I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to insult him professionally, because it's like, dude, I'm here, But then he kept on saying, you don't want to smoke. You don't want to smoke. You don't want to smoke. And I thought, the fuck I don't. I can't wait to get out of here and have a cigarette. This is driving me crazy, but that's such a conflicting thing in your mind, right? It's like compulsive desire, compelled, driven, obsessed. Can you get a bigger wanting than that, and then to tell yourself, I don't want to do this, it's just such a contradiction in your mind that you're just going to short circuit, So,
yeah, exactly. And what I was getting at in the past is, if you distract yourself long enough, you'll be able to deal with your porn addiction. If you focus on what you do want in life, so building this purposeful life, maybe making more money, maybe building a great aesthetic body, maybe having a lot of purpose, developing a relationship, all these things, right? okay, well, that's going to then take the desire away, because you're going to get to a position where your life's going to be so good, you're just not even going to want porn anymore. Like, that was the thinking I used to have. But what I want to do is kind of show a couple of clips here, which really just prove that that isn't the case, because there's a guy called Dylan McKnight, and me and Gavin did a video on this ages ago, but basically he spent $20,000 or so on OnlyFans, in a porn addiction, and you'll see some clips in a moment, but he has like, this sports car, and he's got this crazy like aesthetic body, he's got 700,000 subscribers, so he's got a lot of the things which I was talking about in the past being the kind of antidote to the addiction. But he's actually like achieved all that shit. Like, I hadn't even achieved anything when I was in the porn addiction either. I was just this guy talking shit online, right? But this guy's actually done all those things, like at the extreme ends, like crazier levels of success. And yet he's in a very, very bad place. And I think if that isn't evidence that self-improvement doesn't work for porn addiction, then I honestly don't know what is. So let's play a couple of these clips. Yeah, let's play that first one.
I have a crippling porn addiction. I've spent probably $20,000 on pornography. I have no sex lives because I have erectile dysfunction whenever I try to get with a girl. And I'm just sexually confused as fuck. And I'm just really fucked up.
I remember this guy. Yeah. We did. Yeah, I remember this now. Yeah. Well, obviously it's not working, right? Yeah, that guy's in a really, really bad place. But he's got that lifestyle. He's got all the things. He's achieved all the goals, and lots and lots and lots of money, lots and lots of followers, all the things. But yeah, that guy is a mess. I remember him now. Yeah. I don't remember what we did. You say you did it with Gavin or whatever. Maybe that's when I remember seeing it. But yeah, that was, oh, right. Yeah. On that channel. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He's, what more proof do you need?
Yeah, exactly. And I think if we play the next little clip, I think it'd be good to then share what's going on in terms of the unanswerable questions, and then maybe self-deprecation in particular. And then we can talk a little bit about how that's coming from the addictive part of the mind, and maybe you can expand on that as well.
I'm like damaged, man. I'm like disaffected, and it fucking sucks because I don't want to be alone. It sucks not being able to feel or give love. I've tried relationships and they just fucking fail. Because I'm a monster, I can't feel anything. Sometimes I feel like I'm a sociopath, something fucked like that. And eventually you accept what you are.
Wow. That's intense, man. That's intense. It's like, yeah, the thing is it's like anybody who's, for number one, glamorizing porn addiction, watch that clip for starters, And the thing is then the addictive part of the mind, here this guy's feeling really horrible. Let's take advantage of him and start talking to him like he is a monster, he's a sociopath, he's all these things he can't love, all the things. So now, of course, what's that going to be followed up with? So you might as well just keep using porn, because what's the point? You're just a monster, you're a sociopath anyway, It's all perfect situation for the addictive part of the mind to jump in and get you to engage in your addictive behavior. So yeah, well, that's pretty sad, man. I don't remember that as well as bad news.
Yeah, definitely. And if it is all like legit, like the video, because I know some people online were saying like, oh, maybe he's acting or something. I don't want to get into a debate over that, but let's just assume
look like he was acting,
Yeah. It seems pretty
like
raw.
He was really in pain. Yeah, emotional pain. Yeah.
And what I would say as well about that is like, I think most guys have been there. Like, yeah, most people probably aren't going to press record and put it on YouTube. I think most people who have struggled with porn addiction have probably had those same thoughts and feelings about like, oh my God, I'm a monster. You know, what's wrong with me? Oh, I'm so disgusting. I can't love. Like, I've had all those thoughts as well, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
remember like literally, and it's pretty dark, but like I remember like walking up to the top. And I've said this before, maybe in like some of my first ever videos when I was in still quite a bad place, is like walking up to this top sort of set of stairs, like the 8th floor in my block of apartments. So I live on the 5th floor. I'd walk up to the 8th one after relapsing this one time. And I live in a studio flat. I've lived there for like 7 or 8 years. It's a tiny little flat, right? So I was like all alone, not many friends or family in Manchester. And I remember like in the past this is, and I remember like walking up to the 8th floor, and I was just like looking down. It's not like a balcony, but it's just like there's like the glass window, but then there was this space, probably about 3 or 4 foot of space between the glass window and where you stand up, and there's like this ledge. And I remember like just looking down and thinking like, oh God, like, man, like I didn't think it when I first walked up to like 8th floor, but when I was looking down, I was like, man, like, I do not want to be here. Like, I do not want to be alive right now. And like, I was genuinely thinking that, and it was dark. So
Yeah.
I get what he's going through there, but what you've got
Yeah.
to understand if you're listening to this is it's the addicted part of the mind having a lot of these thoughts.
Well, the thing is, this is the basic dilemma, right? You can, you want to do it and you want to stop. So you try to deny one or the other, which you can only do for so long, and then you want to stop. I mean, and here this guy is like, "Oh my God, this is the shit. I want to stop. I feel horrible." There you are on the 8th floor going, "This is the most horrible thing. I don't even want to be here anymore. I'm gonna jump off the 8th floor or whatever." It's like that's when that refuses to be ignored. That you want to stop doing this to yourself because it's destroying your life. But then what's going to happen is then now you try to deny the wanting, right? Or all the advice out there in the world is going to go, okay, now you got to find a way to not think about this wanting that you have, rather than that basic dilemma, accepting you want both. Neither one of them is going to be. They both refuse to be ignored for any length of time, right? It's going to come to the forefront. You're going to be this guy sobbing in his car, calling himself a sociopath and a monster. But then he's going to go to therapy, right? And they're going to tell him to find all his triggers to find a way to not think about that. He wants to do it. Well, that's going to refuse to be ignored as well. And there you are, living in the dilemma nonstop. You want to do it, you want to stop. And like literally, you just want to go crazy. It's,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
And I
interesting.
think,
And what a
yeah,
full-time job that is. We talk about what a full-time job that is. And I just thought it was really interesting yesterday in group when one of the guys said, uh, "Oh yeah, well, now I feel like I quit my full-time job of being in a porn addiction, and now I'm actually having my full-time job as a videographer." It was interesting that he put that together. Like, what a full-time job it is to live in that conflict of the basic dilemma. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And I think that wanting, as you say, like the denial of the wanting is such a big part of this problem, and it's so misunderstood by so many people. And that's one of the reasons why we're such big advocates for learning how to deal with the addicted part of the mind, and actually understanding this stuff instead of just like running away to the gym or self-improvement, because
yeah,
it doesn't work, because you're going to be denying that wanting on some level. That's kind of why people get into self-improvement, is because they feel horrible about that wanting and they don't know what to do with it, right? So with this guy, for example, like super successful, materially anyway, in my opinion, like he is very, very far from success. I can't imagine anything worse, to be honest. But, materially very successful. And what he was talking about though is, growing up, okay, he's grown up in quite a religious household, I think, and that's so common. And he was talking a little bit earlier in the video. We didn't share this actually today, but he talked a little bit about, suppressing some of those sexual desires growing up. And so what he's probably been taught is that it's maybe like a shameful thing, or it's a sinful thing to even have desires. And that's a
Yeah.
horrible thing to be taught from a young age, because then
Oh,
you're going to be trying to get away from that desire and start feeling like you're a sociopath or there's something wrong with you. When the truth is, there is nothing wrong with you. It's just you've been susceptible to addiction, like me and like all the other guys we work with, from an incredibly young age in this really hypersexualized, messed up world that we now live in, with very little actual education on how to deal with these parts of the mind that will get involved and mixed up in the porn addiction.
yeah. Well, yeah, that the religious aspect of it being a sin or whatever, and it just adds to that shameful feeling. And he said it. He used the word sin, didn't he? Um, yeah, and it's that just adds to that wanting to get away from the desire. Well, if you can't connect to that desire, you're never going to be able to change it. But if the thing is you have all the shame around it, you really want to get away from it. And like, obviously, this guy's done anything and everything to do the self improvement and change his life and whatever, and has not changed that addictive neural pathway of compulsive desire at all. He's just
Yeah.
still stuck or more stuck, and the thing is the more he's suffering, the more he wants to deny that wanting. And that I can guarantee you 100% that is not going to get you out of this, to try to deny one of those realities. They're both true. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
both, yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. We'll wrap it up here.
Yeah.
Hopefully Dylan can give this a watch one day. Who knows? He might
Yeah.
do. And
Do it,
I hope
Darren. Darren, is that his name? Darren? Dylan or?
Dylan.
Dylan. Come on, Dylan. Help is
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just want him to know, like, there's nothing wrong with him. I think that's just such a key thing. And knowing, like, if you have
Yeah.
these desires, like,
Yeah.
it's not that you want to live with these desires maybe for the rest of your life, or even if you do, it's not really that much of a problem once you know how to deal with them. But it's
Yeah.
just these neural pathways wired in a certain way, and they can be changed. So,
Can we tag him or send him the video?
but
Feel
we'll
bad.
at him. We'll at him.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
get it to him. Yeah. Help is here, Dylan.
Help is here. All right. Yeah. Thank you for listening. Hopefully this is useful. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
See ya.